So I feel like I have a pretty cool talent. I learned this like when I was like 21, but I had never had like a bottle opener when it came to like a beer, right? It was always so frustrating.
Can I ask why you never had a bottle opener?
I'm forgetful. I just lose shit all the time.
I
My
mean,
towls, like everything.
I notice you still don't have one because I bring bottles over and we use a fucking butter
Yeah,
knife.
exactly. So, I smoked back then and I always had a lighter, right?
Okay.
So I grabbed my little lighter, make a little lever, and I open the bottle cap. And I got really good at that, right? Really good. Anyway, so last night I was sitting in my bed. I was reading reading the Reddit, and I had a bottle of beer and I had a butter knife, and I just got it in such a good position that I just popped it off so hard, and the bottle cap shot up and hit me in the forehead, and it hurt. Like it had some force behind it. I need to let you know I'm not underestimating how bad that hurt. Like I lost my vision for a second.
Well, you don't have a mark that I can see at least. So.
It actually reminds me of just a quick story. I'll tell you. So do you remember? Have you ever taken the Fun Bus?
No, but I want to.
Okay, so the Fun Bus in Utah.
Okay, I was gonna say explain it for those who aren't here.
Right. So the Fun Bus in Utah is like you pay $20. They drive you down over to Windover where you can legally gamble because we live in a church state, and they drive you there. They drive you back. It's really cheap.
But you can drink on it, right?
No, not anymore.
Oh,
but back
really?
in the day,
They
you
changed
could.
it?
Back in the day, you could like bring all this alcohol and just have a party on it. Anyways, I used to brew beer, right?
Right.
And there's a potential when you brew beer to overcarbonate the bottles if you cap them too soon.
Yeah.
So I remember I was on the Fun Bus. I was like 22, and we were pretty rowdy. I was hammered out of my mind, and I had one of my homebrewed beers. I was trying to impress this girl I was with, super pretty, and I had my lighter. I'm like, check this out, watch.
Did you knock her out?
No, it's worse.
Oh, it's worse?
So I popped it with the lighter, and it was overcarbonated, right? So
it just
shot
fucking
harder,
exploded?
hit the guy behind me, like hard, and I heard it, like it. And this guy was huge. And I remember I kind of like glanced over, and I realized, like in the moment, I'm like, oh, this guy can kick my ass. And I kind of like just look at him, and we make eye contact, and he looks pissed. I'm like, hey, you need a beer.
Did you give him the beer?
Yeah, he took my beer.
Nice. It's like, I know I just assaulted you with this thing, but it's damn good.
Like I homebrewed it. It's a little overcarbonated. I'm sorry.
Did you name the beer anything? Like Look Out?
If I remember correctly, it was a Kolsch ale. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had a Kolsch.
Yeah, they're a different brand of beer. Anyways, in the topic of saying that, I'm going to open up this beer with a bottle knife.
A bottle knife.
Bottle knife.
A bottle knife.
And that's how it happened.
You almost fucking took
Yeah,
me
dude,
out.
if you do it right, that's what happens. Yeah.
You should have warned me before. I thought you were going to like count something down. You just popped that thing right off. But so I was at the liquor store and I found this beer. So have you seen A Christmas Vacation?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, if you haven't seen this, I'm going to be confused. But this is from that because it's Griswold's.
Oh, that's the family name,
Yeah,
right?
it's Griswold's Holiday Ale from Red Rock Brewery here. It's ale brewed with spices.
The only thing I remember from that movie, it's like a series, right? Is like the kid gambles and he just keeps fucking winning.
That's Vegas, but he wins the 4 cars.
It's
Yeah, we
so
watched that
funny.
the other day. He's like on the dam and he's like climbing up. It's so great. Yeah, those movies are good. The most recent one they made that has like, it's supposed to be like Rusty all grown up with his family. It's actually really good. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah, another memory I have of it, it's like they like were visiting another family and the son like had his mouth pierced shut.
Yeah, it's Vegas one again. Because they're in the trailer and he's like, he just pierced his whole mouth shut. He's like, does it hurt? And he's like,
That's comedy gold.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good old National Lampoon.
Well, we got a special episode tonight, so I'll let you lead into what it is.
So we, typically the fashion of what we do is Cleet and I will pick a topic and we do a lot of research into it. And just with work and everything, it's kind of hard to get some time. But there's a lot of shorter, really crazy stories that come about. And I was like, oh, let's throw a couple of these together. So they're just like really short, real life crimes that happen. And the first I'm actually going to talk about happened like last week here in Utah. I'm sure you've heard of it.
I love the Utah ones.
Yeah. It actually like shook the whole community and it's actually really close to home. So I couldn't believe it. But yeah, so we're just going to talk about some other really crazy short stories.
And a little footnote here is we never really collaborate what we're going to talk about beforehand. So we like to keep it fun. I wanted to make a little game tonight. So I actually got a subset of topics that we'll talk about and we'll have Britton pick them. A lot of stories. I categorized them. The 3 categories will be genuinely creepy crimes, fucked up crimes, and kind of funny crimes.
Well, Cleet, I think if you know me, you kind of know where I'm going with this one. I would hope out of those three. But you said it's a game. Do we have like buzzers and like a live audience?
I think your reaction is enough.
Okay, that's good. I'm excited. I have three that I'm covering, and like I was looking for things to cover, and I stumbled across like the first one I knew I wanted to cover. The other two I was like genuinely like, what the fuck is this? The third one I'm excited to see your reaction because it's pretty gnarly. It's really gross, just a forewarning. But
all right, Britton, I'll go first here. So of the three categories, which one would you like to pick?
Genuinely creepy, fucked up, or kind of funny. I think I'm gonna have to go with option B, door number 2. Let's go fucked up.
All right.
Am I gonna regret this shit?
I didn't want to start the episode with a fucked up one.
Oh, you didn't want to?
But okay, Britton.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, we're gonna keep this light because it's the first fucked up one. I don't want to start an episode with a horrible story. So the title of this is 23 and Who? Ohio family sues after ancestry kit reveals their daughter isn't related to her dad.
Oh, God.
An Ohio woman bought a DNA kit for her family last Christmas and was shocked to learn the man she called the dad for 24 years isn't her father. Instead, the Cardellone family discovered the sperm inseminated in Rebecca's Cardellone's mother belonged to another man.
Oh.
Who may have been an employee at Christ Hospital, which oversaw the pregnancy. Oh.
What the fuck?
The family filed a lawsuit in August. Now, to me, this is like a misplacement of anger, right?
I was going to say, hang on a second. So it came from another man who was an employee at the Christ Hospital who oversaw the pregnancy. So,
yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
That's messed up, right? Like, I don't know why you would sue the company, though, right? I mean, clearly the mom was sleeping around. And the worst part about it is, I mean, that means that man was like probably there for his own daughter's birth but didn't say anything. You know what I mean? He was just like, yep, all right.
I'm your dad.
I was thinking about
so rough.
Yeah, and I was just kind of thinking about it. I feel like that probably happens more than you think. You know, I already have my story with my family because we were all, sperm donors. But
wait, you were all results of sperm donors.
Yes, absolutely.
You made it sound like you're all sperm donors, like currently.
We're from sperm banks. Yeah, we were all different samples. Yeah, we found out later in life that my brothers and sisters were all half siblings. We might get in that in another episode. Not now. The cool thing is I learned I'm Irish, Scandinavian, and I'm a little Jewish.
Nice. Okay. I'm curious to do one of those tests. I know that I've got probably some pretty good Irish in me, and then I think Irish and German are my two leading.
It's so interesting because now I kind of want to make a pilgrimage of where I want to, where I used to live. I want to go and try the food, see the culture. Like my dream is to go see Ireland. I want to go there, try the food, try the beer.
I would love to go to Ireland. You'd have to spend a couple weeks and go hit up some pubs and try the food. Some of the food is kind of questionable, like the idea. I think it's more England, but I think it kind of bleeds over with like blood sausages and stuff. I have no desire to try any.
I would eat a blood sausage.
I would try it once. I'm kind of one of those things that I might try everything once.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But I wouldn't be happy about it.
All right, we want to pick two categories in this game. So now pick another category.
Okay, let's do genuinely creepy.
All right, good one. All right, so the title of this article is 4 young burger chef employees vanish while closing up their restaurant for the night in 1978, and their murders remain unsolved.
4 young burger chef employees. Okay.
Watch out, SpongeBob. On the night of November 17th,
I was trying to hold it in, but that
murdering
was good.
SpongeBob.
Yeah. Good old Krusty Krab.
Fucking Squidward and SpongeBob. Right.
Forget about Mr. Krabs.
Yeah. On the night of November 17, 1978, 4 young employees at the Burger Chef in Speedway, Indiana, began to prepare for closing time. Around midnight, a coworker stopped by to help the night crew clean up. He found the place empty, the restaurant's back door still open. The employee called the police, and a search for the missing worker was set in motion. That search ended tragically 2 days later and 20 miles away.
Damn.
When hikers stumbled upon the bodies of all 4 employees in the woods, the Indianapolis Star reported. Assistant manager Jane Freet, 20, had been stabbed to death. Damn.
Oh, God.
That's not a good way to go. I mean, did he make someone's burger wrong?
Well, I mean,
with the fries cold?
Right. So, I mean, usually stabbings are reported with, crimes of passion, right?
That's a good point.
So
I didn't think about that.
maybe she like put the wrong kind of cheese on the burger. She had like a big old snot loogie right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with people's food.
Ruth Ellen Shelton, 17, and Daniel Davis, 16, had been shot execution style with a 38 caliber gun. Damn, that would not be a good way to go.
So 1 stabbed to death, 2 shot execution style. The 4th one, I'm curious.
Like, who did they piss off?
I don't know. But the fact that they were all in the same place, like, I find it hard to, I mean, maybe it was a group of people, but like, I find it hard that one person could corral 4 people and kill them like that.
I don't know. Crazy. So a 16-year-old, Mark Flemons, the youngest victim, had been bludgeoned to death.
Jesus.
Indianapolis Monthly reported that police allowed the restaurant to reopen the day after
Are
the
you
crew's
fucking kidding me?
disappearance. Would you? So hang on.
The day after.
Let's just say, Britton, like you were scheduled a shift right before that, right? You're like, hey, you worked Thursday and they worked Friday and they all got murdered. And they're like, hey, Britton, we need you to come in Saturday. We got some nice overtime for you, because the previous crew got killed.
They're all dead. We got 4 shifts that we need you to cover. I'm like, I fucking quit.
We need you to
Thanks,
work
though.
the night shift.
Yeah. It's like, well, because the problem is now is there's some guy out there who's so picky about his food, he's willing to murder for it. And I'm not going to work here anymore. Sorry, I'm done.
Despite initial worries that the group had been kidnapped, crucial evidence may have been wiped away when the Burger Chef employees cleaned up the restaurant. What? Dude.
Oh, God.
In 2018, the local Fox affiliate reported that the community gathered to plant a quartet of red oak trees, 1 for each victim. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I want to
that's
know,
bizarre.
like, who did they piss off?
Well, supposedly whoever did it is still out there.
Kind of reminds me of that video I saw online where the lady like was pissed about chicken nuggets. Do you remember that?
No.
So this lady, I don't know what happened. I think they were out of chicken nuggets.
Oh,
at, like,
yeah. No, okay. I
McDonald's.
heard this.
And like she was like hitting the drive-through window and trying to crawl in there to attack the workers.
She wanted her nuggets. Have you ever worked in the food industry at all in your life?
Oh, yeah. I worked for 2 years in fast food.
Nice. I worked for Quiznos for almost 2 years. They're not there anymore, which is sad. But like, there were some people that like you'd mess up an order, or it would come out like the way they didn't want it to, and they would flip the fuck out. Like it's like it's a sandwich. Like I can remake it for you. I'm not that type of person. Like if they get it wrong, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of annoying, but can you just fix it for me? I mean, you don't mess with people who do your food.
I had a guy throw a burrito at me once.
Oh, nice.
He wanted like a bean and cheese burrito, but I guess I thought he said beef burrito.
So he stuffed his burrito full of meat?
Yeah, he came up. He's like, I said bean and cheese. You gave me beef. This is bullshit. And he threw it at me. And then like he asked for a refund. My manager wasn't there. I was the only one working because it was a slow like place in a movie theater, and I wouldn't give him a refund. I just told him no.
Well, you just got a free burrito out of it.
I didn't
too.
get fired. It was great.
Nice. Well, I mean,
I told him to fuck off.
I doubt that.
I didn't say that, but the proverbial not refund was the fuck off.
That was the point you were trying to get across.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Still unsolved though. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. What was the motive, people? Have you ever been pissed off at fast food people? Leave it in the comments.
All right, so let's bounce over to this one. And I was one of the cool facts though, like that I wanted to talk about. So we talked about earlier where we research topics. I really want to cover Albert Fish. Do you know who Albert Fish is?
Wasn't that a viewer request?
Yeah, it's a very sought after request. We've had multiple people that want to hear from it, but remember that I'll have to go back and find which episode, but we called that number with the voicemail.
Oh yeah, we talk shit on it, right?
Yeah, so I want to cover Albert Fish, and we're going to go back to that because I got a strange text back from that number. But interesting enough, on this day is when he was arrested back in 1934.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. I wanted to cover him, but I'm going to need a lot more time than I had this week. So I just wanted to point that out. But as I stated earlier, what I'm going to talk about first actually happened here just recently on the 4th of December. So
what?
Yeah.
Happy dark anniversary, you bastard.
Right?
Y'all bastard.
So did you hear about the teacher that got arrested?
In Utah?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So this is nuts. So Lucas Sloan Talley, a 38-year-old middle school teacher who taught at South Hills Middle School here in Utah for a whopping 12 years, was arrested for 2 counts of kidnapping.
South Hills. I grew up close there, actually.
So did I.
Was that a middle school?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
So the thing is, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, I never went there. I went to school probably a couple blocks away from this school. My wife's siblings attended this school.
That's in South Jordan, right?
Yeah.
I lived there. Like,
No,
I
no,
almost went to that school.
This is in Riverton. Sorry.
Okay, it was still close to where I lived. Okay.
Right. Now, the thing is, though, is like some of my brother and sister-in-laws had him as a teacher.
Was he creepy?
No, which is, again, we'll talk about it, but like it hit so close to home. Like I remember when they announced this, my family uses Marco Polo. It's like the video messaging to keep in touch. And it was like all they talked about for like 2 days. Anyway, so 2 counts of kidnapping. He was caught sneaking a student that he had been speaking to for quite some time into his classroom inside of a bin, right? 14-year-old girl.
What?
Right now, so he's currently being held without bail as of recording this, or it's probably going to change obviously soon. He's not been formally charged as of yet. So yeah, he smuggled a girl into the school.
Is she alive?
Yeah, no, she's fine. So we'll get into it a little bit more. So Tally, the teacher, had made a habit of communicating with multiple young girls for the past few years over text and email. Like that alone is just a recipe for disaster. You can't.
Right.
As a teacher, that's not okay.
You don't text your students.
No. So again, I talked about it a little bit before, but I wanted to talk about him as a teacher because he was one of those teachers who was beloved by literally every student he had. Like he was the teacher that kids wanted to have when they found out that he was teaching them. They were like excited. They would hang out like after school to talk to him. He was just like a really interested guy in their lives. Like he was a really good person, which makes this like really hard because everyone really liked him. Again, my brothers and sisters-in-law, they had him, and they same thing. They're like, I would have thought this would have happened.
Weird.
My sister-in-law, who graduated not too long ago, she had him as a teacher and was like, yeah, I was alone with him all the time. He was a really cool guy. You know, he would give me hugs and stuff. And I'm just like, it's so weird.
He didn't try to put him in a box or anything?
No, not then. I mean, this is more recent. He might have been prepping for this moment, but my in-laws are all just like really like, what the fuck is happening? And the whole community is just shaken up by this thing. I only had a couple teachers that I really liked. Usually I just hated who was teaching me. Like,
I had a couple creepy ones.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go back to the story here. When Tally was questioned by police on why he was under the impression that speaking to underage girls was okay, he responded by saying he felt like he could talk with them about his anxiety and they were able to help him through it. So he's an anxious guy and they can help him. So it's like a form of like therapy is how he described it. It's not okay. It's just creepy. He told police that his ego, quote unquote, thrives on validation from speaking to these girls. So he'd have an anxiety or panic attack and he'd start reaching out to students that he knew also struggled with these same issues so they could talk each other through it. So he's using his anxiety and depression to talk to other girls who have anxiety and depression because it's okay, because it's a validation for him.
You don't text students, man.
No. He also claimed that he would not reach out to girls that had none of these, anxiety, depression, things of that nature. And he was, so if he wasn't aware that he had those issues, he wouldn't reach out to them.
It almost seems like it's a benevolent act of what he's doing, but at the same time, when you think about it, it almost seems like it's predatory. You know what I mean?
And usually when, it's always in the interview, they try and justify these things. Like it's the stupidest bullshit. Like, I'm sorry, that's why we have counselors. There's counseling if you have anxiety and depression. You don't reach out to underage girls. You just don't do that. It's not okay. According to the police investigation, Tally began speaking to, or grooming as they call it, this young girl sometime last year in June. So it's been going on for quite some time. He confided in the girl that he was super unhappy and even depressed in his marriage and that he missed and loved her. So it's just getting creepier. Tally would consistently drop by her house and leave treats and would sometimes spend several hours hanging out with her just to talk.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy's wife. That's sad.
Right. I just can't imagine being married to someone and having this come out after, again, he taught at the school for 12 years. I didn't say how long he'd been married.
Again, I don't know what happened. You haven't finished the story, but it doesn't seem to be going in a good direction.
No, it's definitely not. Okay, and I always had a question, where are the parents? But at the same time, parents are working and there's probably times where they're not home. So he probably knew when they weren't home. He'd just swing by with treats and talk, right? Again, it's a grown-ass man talking to a 14-year-old girl. He told police that the idea of having a relationship with her crossed his mind several times, but that he knew he would have to wait for 6 or 7 years when she became of appropriate age. So he's like, yeah, I'll have a relationship when she's old enough.
I have a theory. People don't just become monsters. They just make slow concessions in their mind until they become a monster.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, okay, I'm going to do a white lie. And then it's going to become something a little bit more and a little bit more. And they kind of like, it's just a slow decline into horrendous, I don't know.
Exactly.
He becomes a monster.
Right. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's always, I don't want to say always, but I feel like it's mostly the people that you wouldn't suspect. Like 12 years, everyone loved him. So he's playing this nice guy. He's super gentle to the students. He's really good. He's a really good teacher. He's really good at what he teaches. And then, slowly building up to this. And now he's in jail for smuggling a girl into a classroom in a fucking bin. What's worse is that the victim's mother found out about the conversations going on and told Tally to stop back in June. So right when he started talking to her, she found out. She's like, you need to fucking stop. He acknowledged the concern, but continued to talk with her. So he's like, I get it, but I'm still going to. As a parent, I would rip this guy's fucking head off if he was talking to my 14-year-old daughter. So Tally struggled when the school closed down due to the pandemic because he didn't have a constant flow of girls to chat with, right? So he starts to get all angsty sitting at home with his wife, who apparently he doesn't really care for. He came up with the idea to get this girl into his classroom by putting her into a large Sterilite bin and wheeling it in on a dolly. Once in the classroom, he would shut and lock the door so that no one would be able to see them when passing by. Because I'm assuming there's probably still janitors coming through, maybe the principal or whatever just walking through the school. When asked about the bin, he told police that he named the bin after her and had placed a note inside that read, and I quote, "I hope your box is comfortable." Like, you can't make this shit up, man. This is ridiculous. Like, he named it after her, and like she gets in the box and it's like, hey, I hope it's comfortable in there. He reported that he made these arrangements without the victim's knowledge. So he would just say, hey, meet me at the school. She'd get to the school, and then he has a bin, and he's like, oh, get in here. We have to get you into the school without you being seen.
Oh.
So she had no idea, reportedly, from what he's saying, that she knew she was getting into a bin. As a 14-year-old, I mean, because there's several times it's like she didn't know what was happening. It's like, at 14, you know not to get into a fucking bin. I'm sorry,
Hopefully.
but... okay, anyway, so Tally reportedly touched the girl on her inner thigh and rubbed her leg, which made her super uncomfortable. She became afraid that it was going to escalate and said she was worried that something sexual was about to happen. But reportedly that's as far as it went, but still way too far as a student. You don't rub the inner thigh of a child. Detectives are currently investigating other cases that may be linked to Tally, including other girls that he may have spoken to, because there was actually quite a few. At first, Tally denied having any relations outside of the school, but obviously that was a lie. Police discovered that Tally was having suicidal tendencies during his last year due to the heightened anxiety and depression, and once he even drove to Fort Collins, Colorado, because he wanted to get away from everything.
Oh.
Just sounds like he's kind of just becoming unhinged, man. I mean, yeah, look, I get this year is tough, but there's ways to deal with it than putting children in bins. Police feel that he is more of a danger to himself and is considered a flight risk when he becomes overwhelmed by his feelings. So Tally resigned from the school a week before his arrest. It has been requested that he not be released on bail for the safety of the community, the victim, and himself.
Yeah, he should never teach again. My God.
Oh, no, he'll never teach again. So yeah, that's the story of Tally.
It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. So I mean, I wanted to touch base on it a little bit, like if we were covering another topic, but I'm like, well, if we're doing shorter ones, I can cover the whole thing. But that's, again, as of writing it, he hasn't been formally charged. This definitely going to change. They'll probably have more evidence coming out with more girls, but yeah. So that girl will never be the same. He's never going to teach. This next one's pretty short, but it's still shocking. We're going to talk about a cannibal who ate his grandmother.
Oh.
Would you ever consider eating your grandma, Cleet?
That's rude. I love my grandma.
Yeah, so do I. I would never think about it. In June of this year, so this also happened this year, 2020 in June, in Richmond, California, a police investigation turned into one of the most gruesome sights you can possibly imagine. The police arrived at the scene after reports of a woman bleeding on the ground were made. Upon entering the premises, they found 37-year-old Dwayne Wallach standing over his grandmother's bleeding corpse and attempting to eat her remains.
You know, he probably was not a winner in life.
No. I mean, if this is what you're doing, I doubt it.
Was he snorting the baths? What was it?
Bath salts? We'll get, there's some suggestions.
Your stories just fucking mess me up sometimes. I'm just so
Thanks, Clea. I take that as a compliment. Just wait till the last one. I'm serious. It's pretty gnarly. So anyway, the woman who's bleeding out, his grandmother, her name was Ruby, and she was 90 years old. So she was really old, and but we'll talk about it because apparently she was really healthy and actually reported to have probably lived for another few years. So the officers immediately ordered him to stop, but he apparently didn't care because he just continued to dig into her flesh with his bare hands, shoving the chunks of meat into his mouth. He was just like, it's like a Sunday feast, man. He's just going for it. It took 4 officers and a taser to finally bring Dwayne down and into custody. He didn't want to stop.
That's like kind of like in those situations where I would pardon a police officer if they just like kind of put him in a back room in the police station, just beat the bejesus out of him.
I mean,
like, hey, we're just going to beat the shit out of you and then we're going to prosecute you.
Take it up a notch. They just start eating him. I mean, if you believe in the whole eye for an eye thing. But no, I agree. I mean, kind of off. So going off on a tangent here, but something else happened that was really tragic here in Utah not too long ago. There was a break-in and a man and woman were shot and killed. And they had kids and everything. It happened in like actually really close to here. And they reported that it was like one of his employees at a landscaping company for like pay. He broke in and like murdered them. My neighbor actually knew the family who got murdered, and they released mugshots, and the guy was beat to shit. The cops unloaded on him, and everyone was like, good.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was not too long ago.
Didn't he try to flee to like Nevada or something? His wife was covering it up.
Yeah, so they got him in Nevada, and the cops just went ballistic, and literally like all the comments from the threads like, good.
I don't want to get political, but in nonviolent crimes, I don't think people should be prosecuted. But when people are violent and they hurt people, an eye to an eye is kind of like an okay thing for me.
I completely agree. I honestly agree.
Controversial opinion.
I agree with you, but I mean, hey, we'll leave it at that. Ruby was pronounced dead, and supposedly Dwayne had murdered her with an ice pick and a knife. Of all the things to use, a fucking ice pick? Seriously? On a grandmother?
It's so weird to be killed by your own kin. It's so bizarre.
Right. And rumor, I mean, the theories state that they lived together, and so, I mean, but they couldn't find a motive. I mean, we'll talk about some of the motives, like you said, the bath salts. Drugs was really, like...
I would assume drugs.
Played up, yeah. But, like, an ice pick to your grandmother, like, that's, like, something, like extremely aggressive. Like, did she, like, snap and, like, call him out on something, and he just lost his fucking mind? Dwayne was charged with murder, but was first sent to the hospital where he was treated for unspecified injuries.
Yes. Yeah. I hope he got hurt.
Oh, I'm sure he did. It's unspecified, so I'm sure they just, like, wailed on him. That or he just broke a few fingers while digging through his poor grandmother. I mean, one or the other. His motive was unknown, but the police suspected drugs may have played a part in it. I think that, could be bath salts, because it's like that one zombie guy who ate the face off of the other guy in Miami on bath salts.
Only
whatever.
In Florida.
So yeah, that's the story of the cannibal who ate his grandmother. Let's take a break from that and let's play some more game show.
No, I'm going to force a category on you guys for the viewers. We're going to do kind of funny.
That's where I was going to go next. So, let's choose kind of funny, because I'm the contestant here, you dick.
Title of the article: Man in reindeer slippers attempts to steal a woman's wheelchair.
I'm already fucking hooked. I don't know how it gets better than that. We can just stop there. That's a good one. Reindeer slippers attempting to steal a woman's wheelchair. Okay.
A man in Arizona wearing reindeer slippers managed to dash away from this scene, but law enforcement caught up to him anyway. Austin Sherbut, his last name Sherbut, 26, was arrested in December after being seen on surveillance video trying to take a woman's wheelchair. Sorry.
What a monster.
Out from underneath her while on board a train in Phoenix, police say. I'm sorry I'm laughing. That's really messed up.
Maybe he went through life just wanting a wheelchair and never had one. He just took the moment.
One could say he is not one of Santa's little helpers. Authorities credited hero passengers on the light rail for coming to the woman's rescue, and Sherbut was nabbed after thousands shared his pictures online. Despite his reindeer slippers, this criminal was not spreading holiday cheer. The Phoenix Police Department said, also noting that Sherbut was still wearing the reindeer slippers when he was arrested.
Yes. He's in prison with reindeer slippers. He's going to get the shit kicked out of him.
Could you imagine being on a public transportation system and see that happen?
You see someone in reindeer slippers trying to kidnap someone's wheelchair?
Just pushes him out and runs out.
Dude, I would have been one of those hero passengers. I'm telling you, I would have wailed on him.
Reminds me of there's this story a long time ago in 2008. You guys should look it up. But a guy tries to rob the gas station in a full Gumby costume.
Are you serious?
And what happened was he gets the cash and he drops it on the ground and he can't pick it up because of his costume.
He's got his big hands.
And he just runs out.
So he failed.
Yeah.
He dropped the money,
Like,
tried to pick it up, and then bounced.
If you look at this Gumby costume, like it's a full-on goddamn Gumby costume.
He spared no expense. He's probably trying to get the money to make up for the cost of the costume.
But imagine being robbed by Gumby.
I mean, there's worse things to happen to you, man. I mean, that's one of those double takes. Like, are you really trying to rob me dressed like that, sir? Like, is this happening right now?
Like, are you really going to shoot me? Like, is this a joke? Are you really putting my life at risk?
And then
I'm not sure.
And then as he drops the money you're picking up, you're just sitting there going, is this fucking real right now? Is this happening?
You come home to your wife at night and you're like, I got robbed by Gumby.
You pour yourself a shot of whiskey, you sit down, you're like, you will not believe what happened to me today.
That's definitely not a rite of passage.
No. But it's funny because public transportation, right? We have tracks here, and I've taken it several times because you go downtown, don't have to worry about parking and all that stuff. You find the sketchiest fucking people on those public transportations. Like, I get it, right? Because it's open to everybody for a very small cost. I get it. But like sometimes, like I was on the public transportation and it's like, I'm going to move to the other car when this thing stops because just the way this guy's looking at me, I'm not very comfortable right now. But
I got a little story. I'll throw it in here. I used to go to the University of Utah, and I go on the tracks every morning at 7 a.m. And I remember this one guy comes in, and he looks like a gangster. Anyways, he's blasting some music on his phone, right? Like, he doesn't have headphones. He's just blasting some music. And this little gal comes up to him. She goes, "Excuse me, will you turn that off?" And he looks at her with such disdain that I thought he was going to hit her. And I'm like, I can't fight this guy on the tracks at 7 in the morning because I'm going to have to intervene. And luckily he just said, screw off. And then she didn't say, but that guy was trash. Anyways.
So if it had been noon, maybe you'd have the courage or gumption to take this guy on.
It's just irritating that would have to happen at 7 a.m. And like, the thing is, when big moments happen, you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not going to be the guy who's going to sit there and watch.
No.
Like, I'm not going to let that happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I'm psyching myself up for it. I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. If this happens, I'm going to do this.
You're just assessing the situation. But like this one, if you see someone trying to snag a wheelchair, I'm going to kick the shit out of this guy.
Too many people observe, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem with
people. Or they
people.
start filming.
Yeah,
that's why it ends up on fucking YouTube because people are like, oh, this is crazy. Like, get off your ass and help.
Yeah, I agree. All right, one more category, Britton.
Okay, so I'm going to... You want to pick for me like you did last time? I don't know. I actually kind of like the kind of funny. So let's do another one of those.
All right, we'll do another funny one. This title is Bank Robber Hands Teller a Note with his name, address on it.
Oh, smart. Okay. So this guy is, winning the...
Darwin Award?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. So Darwin Award winner. Okay.
Michael Harrell, 54, was arrested in August after ordering a teller to hand over his cash from a U.S. bank location in Cleveland. Using a note that had his full name and address on it, the FBI says, it reportedly was written on the back of the document from the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
So he came from the DMV, and he's like, hey, give me all your fucking money. It's like, okay, John, or what was his name? Okay, Michael.
It gets worse, man. But anyways, what I'm thinking is, how high are the costs at the DMV this guy's got to rob a bank after? So the teller referred to Harrell by his name.
Yes!
Which to me is kind of badass.
It's like, okay, Michael Harrell, 64, living at 123 J Street.
He just starts repeating his address and gave him an unknown amount of money before calling 911. According to investigators, he was taken into custody a few days later.
I just imagine him like, okay, Michael Harrell. And he's like, how do you know my name?
Right?
It's like, I don't know, but I can also tell you where you live.
At
You a
that
mind
point,
reader?
At that point, you go, it's a joke, dude. I was kidding. We're friends.
I'm just kidding. Like, why would I give you a piece of paper with my name and address on it asking for money?
Didn't I see you in a Gumby costume a couple years back?
Gotcha. Anyway, can I withdraw my $5 in my bank, please?
Unsurprisingly, an FBI agent at the time said, when you present a note that has your name already on it and address, it helps law enforcement tremendously.
You don't say. That's awesome. That just takes all the investigative work out of it. Like,
he was really just trying to save public resources. He's really an unsung hero, in my opinion.
right. Or he wanted to do the crime but didn't want to keep up with trying to get away. So he's like, I want to do a crime and say I did a crime, but like, I'd rather just get it over with right now. Like, hey, yeah, it's my name. My name's Michael. I live here.
You know, like maybe in Ohio, they got cable in the prisons. They got like high class food. And he's just trying to get back in there.
I mean, sadly, a lot of people would prefer living in, in prison compared to where they're at now on the street.
In Cleveland.
But I was hinting at that, but I didn't want to like.
Yeah, I know you were. I wanted to fucking say it.
Okay, well there you go. All right, well that's okay. So we got a little bit of a Darwin Award in there too. That's cool. Anyway, so that's it then. That's so obviously he's caught and in jail, and I wonder where he's gonna go next. That's like his MO. He's gonna be like a serial killer, writing his name and address on the wall next.
You know, wherever he goes, one thing that brings me a little bit of solace is we'll know soon after.
All right, Cleet. Oh, I'm so ready for this case.
Is this like the fucking crescendo of a fireworks show, dude? Because you've been really fucked up tonight.
Yeah, I know. And this is maybe you won't think it's as bad, but the title is Botched Castration from Cannibals. You ready?
Why am I here?
Why am I here? What am I doing? This one literally, like, I was going to be content with, talking about, the teacher smuggling a student into his classroom and the guy eating his grandma, and then this one just popped up and I was like, I have to do it. Like, I can't in good faith just step away from this one. So
hang on, I just want to give that a little more context. You're telling me that this article showed up as related to the teacher?
Like, no. I think I typed in Google like crazy 2020 crimes that happened.
Okay. And
no, so the teacher one I searched for that one specifically because of, obviously it was a really big thing and within my family. But then, these last two were connected because it was like the whole cannibal thing.
Okay, got you.
So yeah, but this one popped up. I'm like, oh, of course. I have to talk about this one. So again, botched castration from cannibals. So for this story, we're going to Oklahoma City, where two alleged cannibals run an underground clinic specializing in sex change procedures. So underground in Oklahoma, okay? The two men arrested were Bob Lee Allen, who was 53, and Thomas Evan Gates, who's 42. They were arrested after a horribly botched surgery on an unidentified man who sought them out to perform his own castration. Now, he sought them out to have this castration done.
Like, do you reach out on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist?
Oh, we'll get in there. We'll get into it. Look, I'm not going to get into what you want to do with your body. I'm not going to get into it, but there are medical professionals who go to a lot of school to make sure that these things are done safely. You're going to go to an Oklahoma cabin and have this done in the basement? Really? And you think this is good?
Like he just has like an axe and a little like tree trunk you sit on?
Yeah, I think so. The poor fellow who lived through actual hell traveled all the way from Virginia to the two guys' cabin in Oklahoma. He was hospitalized on October 12th this year, so again 2020, after the procedure. When asked where he even found the guys, he said he found them online after doing a search for castrations. So he's like, you know what? I want this done. He goes to Google, types in castrations. He had to have dug through like the dark web or something, because I doubt you just type in castrations like 2 men in Oklahoma will do this for you. I doubt that's happening, right? He told police that Allen reported to have had 15 years of surgical experience and that he was willing to perform the procedure free of charge. I mean, how can you pass that up, Cleet? It's free.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Exactly. So I was going to say, usually when something's offered for free, there's a catch, because really nothing is really truly free. It's like, hey, you'll get a free item if you spend $10,000 in the next hour. So really it costs you $10,000 to get something for free, and it's usually a 10-cent item.
They just sent me some bloody testicles.
So there's a catch, obviously, right? So how is he getting away from doing this for free? Allen told him that he would perform the surgery for free because he would make his own sick home videos of the operation for his own personal use. So he's like, I'll do it for free, but I'm going to film it.
What the fuck?
It gets a little more intense, too. The man went into describing the night of arriving at the cabin. So obviously he's being questioned by police, and he's describing what got to the cabin. Allen and Gates began the nearly 2-hour surgery, which began with injections in all the right places. So they're just like starting to stab him and numbing him all in this. I don't know what they're giving him, because again, it's in the basement of a cabin. A lot of this information was obtained via the arrest affidavit. So that's where a lot of this information is coming from. Once the super safe operation was done, right, everything's good, Allen confided in the man that he intended to eat the man's now severed reproductive organs and began sharing his personal slideshow of pictures containing parts of other clients that he had helped stashed in his freezer.
Oh.
So he's like, so I'm going to eat your testicles after this. And here's all the ones I have in my freezer. So he's showing him all these pictures of frozen testicles that he has in his freezer.
So he does have maybe 15 years of experience.
Yeah. But legit experience?
I didn't know there was a market for this.
There's a lot you don't know, Cleet. The man told police that Allen was laughing while talking about this and that he joked about being a cannibal. The victim also told police that Allen bragged about having dozens of other clients already booked for their procedures and explained in gruesome detail some of the other surgeries he performed. So he's like, I've got clients booked throughout the rest of the year. He's talking about other stuff he's done. He talked about one particularly difficult patient that he actually left open up overnight to die. So he just never stitched him back together. He just died.
Oh.
He also told police that he was bleeding profusely the next day, and when consulting Allen about it, he joked about dumping his body in the nearby woods if he had actually died. So he's like, if you die, we'll just dump you in the woods. He supposedly said, and I quote, "No morgue, no ER."
That's kind of a good catchphrase.
For some reason, Allen decided it was best to take the man to the hospital, but warned him that if the staff were to ask him about what happened, he was supposed to tell them that he did the procedure himself, rather than selling the 6 sons of bitches out. When the man was safely in the hospital care, he immediately told them about the true story of the men who were trying to get him involved with cannibalistic ways. Allen and Gates wanted to stop by after and see how their friend were doing, but were arrested on site on October 15th.
When is Hollywood going to buy the rights to this film?
I mean, it would be an insane film. I wonder who they'd cast.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
He's a creep.
Yeah, I don't know if he's acting much anymore after. Yeah, okay. After an investigation was placed on the property, frozen testicles were found in the freezer of the surgery cabin. Lee and Gates were charged with a handful of offenses, including medical battery maiming, desecration of a human member, aggravated assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, conspiracy, etc. So there you go. An underground castration cabin in Oklahoma.
Well, you're welcome, viewers, for these good stories we have presented with you tonight.
All right, well, let's go ahead and let's end on just one more kind of funny crime because, we've had a bit of a couple heavy hitters here.
All right, well, look at those pictures of those two brothers. What do you think?
I think they're up to some shady, funny shit.
Do they look like upstanding citizens of society?
Not really.
One looks like they like fun,
Meth.
bad drugs. Yeah. All right, title of article.
Do you want to build a meth lab?
Man caught driving stolen SUV on way to bail out brother, also arrested for stealing SUV.
Oh my God. That's great.
Only in Alabama. I'm kidding. It looks like it's Kansas. I'm reading this. Police working in this case must have felt some serious deja vu. A man in Kansas was arrested in November for driving a stolen SUV to bail out his brother, who had been jailed only hours earlier for stealing a separate SUV, authorities said.
Oh my God, that's too great.
My brother, he went to jail and I can't go pick him up. I need to get this SUV.
What's up with SUVs? Like, steal a fucking sports car. If you're going to steal something good. An SUV?
The first sibling caught was 36-year-old Eric Dean McCracken. That's a cool last name. McCracken.
Release the McCracken.
He was arrested for driving a Chevy Trailblazer with a suspended license, the Jackson County Sheriff Office said. Police then revealed that they learned the SUV had been reported stolen. Hours later, his younger brother, 32-year-old Keith Ray McCracken, was arrested after leading deputies on a short chase in a stolen 2015 Chevy Silverado that authorities were tracking through its GPS, the sheriff office said.
So it's a younger brother like, oh, my older brother got nabbed. I got to go save him.
Feel like you'd like watch him like on the news and they're like driving down the highway and he pulls into like a police station to go pick up his brother.
Like 90 miles an hour, he plows to the front of the station right into his brother's cell.
It is believed that younger McCracken was en route to the Jackson County Jail to post bail on his older brother in a stolen vehicle. It added, they since were reunited in the jail.
Oh, well, that's like kind of a wholesome tale. They were like reunited as brothers. So he was literally going to post bail. So had he taken any other vehicle, he could have ridden a fucking bicycle.
It really talks to the what is this? What is that thing people say? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right. No, exactly. So, I mean, I'm wondering if the dad was in the cell next to him.
Yeah, he's like, hey, it's a family reunion. We're going to be barbecuing with ramen and this Spam.
It's like, hey, I'm going to use my one phone call to call Mama. She can steal our neighbor's Cadillac.
Big old Bertha. She going to go pick us up in the big old fucking trailer park.
She's going to drive us here. We're going to get out of this bitch.
Anyways.
Oh, that was pretty good. So, yeah, good mixture. I'm glad that you had some kind of funny stuff to throw in there because I definitely went a little nuts. But honestly, I just picked some of the most crazy ones, which I think is kind of cool.
Well, we're here for the viewers. We will always dive into the nitty, the gritty, the funny, because we're here for you. Keep listening because we're going to keep bringing you content you've never heard before.
That's true. Or stuff you have heard before, and we're going to give our own twist on it. But, we appreciate you coming back in. So, So, I mean, guess just kind of a snippet for, like, what's coming up. So, obviously, we'll be posting an episode next Sunday as well. But then after that, due to the holiday week, we will be taking a week off and then be resuming the first week in January 2021. We can leave this shite of a year behind us. So if you have any suggestions, as always, please and thank you. Send us suggestions to entertheabysspod@gmail.com. Again, truly, guys, it's been an awesome first year for our podcast. We really appreciate all the emails we've had from you guys, all the shout outs on Facebook. You guys are truly incredible.
And on YouTube, always like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.